Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth. If this is your first time coming across my video, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching us how to cut and sew this halter neck shirt with a one-piece collar, and it has this rope at the back that you're going to tie. And one of the things you'll be learning in this video is how to avoid gaping on the armhole part. So if this sounds like something you are interested in learning, you definitely want to keep on watching. So here are the materials I'm going to be using to make this shirt. So I have my ruler, I have my scissors, my marker, and I also have my fabric, which is about 1 yard here. 1 yard should do for you as well. And then I have my pattern paper. So we're going to be drafting this shirt on a pattern paper first before we transfer to our fabric, so that we can do the necessary tightening, okay, to avoid gaping, especially on the armhole part. I'm going to start by drafting my basic bodice pattern, and of course we are doing that together. So the first thing I want to do is to come down from the top of my paper by 1 inch, which is going to serve as my starting line. Okay, so I'm going to draw a straight line across that point. So from this starting line, I'm going to take all other measurements. Okay, so placing my tape on that starting line, I'm going to come down to my bust point, okay, which is 9.5 inches for me. And from there, I'm still going to place my tape at the starting line, and I'll mark my half length, which is 15.5 inches for me. And also I'll mark my full length. So for the full length, I'm going to be coming down from my half length by about 7 inches. Okay, that is how long I want it to be. Then I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side of the paper, just so I can have a straight line. All right, so after doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect all the lines together, and then I'm going to use my marker pen to outline the lines, because obviously you cannot see anything right now. Using this pen, it's not really visible, so I'm going to use my marker to outline it. Okay, so after that, the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and label my lines, just so you guys don't get confused. So the first line is going to be my shoulder line, which is also the starting line, and then the second line is my bust point line, and the third line is my waist length, also known as half length, and then the fourth line is my full length or my blouse length or the shirt length. Okay, so the next thing I will do is to mark my button allowance, and for that I'm going to be marking 2 inches on the shoulder line, the bust point line, all the way to the blouse length, and then I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect all the points together, and then I'm going to label that the button allowance. So after that, the next measurement I'm going to take is my half shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement divided by 2. My shoulder measurement is 14 inches. Half of that is 7 inches. So I'm going to place that 7 inches from the button allowance line. Okay, I'm not going to start from the center front. All other measurements I'm going to start to place now will be from this button allowance. Okay, so after marking half of my shoulder measurement, I'm going to come down from that point by 1.5 inches for my shoulder slope. And after that, I'm going to be taking my neck width of 3 inches, and then I'm going to be connecting from the neck width to my shoulder slope with a straight line like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my neck depth. I'm using a neck depth of 3 inches, and I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect the points together as seen in the video. So I will also extend my neck depth into my button allowance like so. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to get my chest length, and to get the chest length is simply your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches gives me 7 inches. So I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder slope and then come down by that 7 inches. Okay, place your tape on the shoulder slope and come down by the 7 inches. Then after that, I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect it into a straight line like so. And I'm going to label it the chest line. So just for clarity's sake, I'm going to relabel my pattern because the first labeling went into the button allowance. So I'm just going to relabel it. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take half of my shoulder measurement again on my chest line, because right now we are trying to get the armhole curve. So I'm going to place that, and then I'll use my straight ruler to connect the points together like you can see on the screen. The next thing I'm going to do is to place my tape on my chest line, and I'm going to measure quarter of my bust circumference, which is my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust circumference is 32. 32 divided by 4 gives me 8 inches, and then I'm going to be adding 1 inch to that measurement, half inch for ease and half inch for seam allowance. And on that point, I'm going to be coming up by 3 inches, and then from that 3 inches mark, I'll go in by half of an inch, and then I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect from my shoulder slope to that half inch mark, and use my curved ruler to finish it up to the chest line to get the armhole just like you see on the screen. The next thing I will do is to place quarter of my waist circumference on the waistline, and then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for that, and I'll also add extra 1 inch for ease and also for seam allowance. Okay, and then I'm going to come to the blouse length and place quarter of my hip circumference on that line. So I'm going to place it, and then I'm going to add 1 inch allowance to that. Then I'm going to use my ruler to connect all the points together. So after that, I'm going to be marking my dart, and to do that, I'm going to be placing half of my nipple to nipple measurement on the waistline. Half of my nipple to nipple measurement is 3.25. I'm going to also mark the same measurement on the bust point line and also on the full length line, as you can see on the screen. Then I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect it into a straight line like so. And then on the waistline, I'm going to be taking my dart intake of half inch on both sides. So I'm going to be marking half inch on both sides, and from the waistline I'll come down by 5 inches for my dart leg, and then I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the half inch on the waistline to the 5 inches dart leg. Alright, and then coming to the bust point, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch, and I'll also connect my dart to that 1 inch mark as well. Okay, so now I'm going to be drawing the halter neckline. Okay, I'm going to be drawing a line which runs from the neck depth, okay, from the neck width all the way down to the bust point. Note, to the bust point, you're drawing the curve from the neck width to the bust point, not the chest line. Okay, just look at how I'm connecting it on the screen and do the same. Connect to the bust point, not the chest line. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like after connecting it. And then we're not just going to leave it this way, because if you do, it's going to gape at that armhole part. So in order to avoid gaping, all we are going to do is you're going to be tightening that area. And to do that, I'm going to be measuring what I have from that point, what I have on the armhole line. I mean the new armhole, the halter neck armhole. And then I'm going to be dividing whatever I have there into two, and I'll connect with a straight ruler to my bust point like this. So after connecting that, we're going to be tightening it with half of an inch on both sides. All right, so on both sides of the new that leg, I'm going to be coming out by half of an inch, and then I'm going to connect the two points to my bust point line like so. And then I'm just going to smoothen that to avoid pointy edges. Okay, so now if I leave it this way, the upper part is going to be longer than the other side, which is going towards the side. So in order to avoid that shortage, I'm going to be extending that leg, which is going towards the side, by 1 inch, because we took a dart of 1 inch on that point. So go out by 1 inch, and then I'm also going to replace that 1 inch on the bust point line like so. That same 1 inch dart that we took, we're going to be replacing it on the bust point line, and then I'm going to be reconnecting my armhole like this. Just watch what I'm doing in the video, and then you're going to get it. It's very, very simple. It's not hard at all. So after doing that, I'm going to be reconnecting that line back to my waist line like so. And then the next thing I'm going to be doing is to come to the hem line by the side, and I'm just going to go up by about 3 inches, and then I'll curve it back into the dart leg like so, because I don't want that place to just be straight. I want it to have this curvy effect. So I'm just going to use my curved ruler to give it that shape like this, and we are basically done with the drafting of this shirt pattern. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do now is to go in with my scissors, and then I'm going to cut out the pattern. Please pay close attention to the part that I'm cutting out in this pattern. Okay, what I have after cutting. So I'm going to be setting this aside now, and then I'm going to be working on the back part. Okay, for the back part, I'm just going to get a piece of paper, and then I'm going to mark 5 to 6 inches. Either one, you can use 5 inches, and you can also mark 6 inches. Then I'm going to connect that into a straight line like this. And after that, I'm going to be taking the side front. Okay, I'm going to be taking the side front, and then I'm going to be placing it on that line that I drew, and I'm going to be tracing out the same shape I have on the side of the front. So just watch what I'm doing in the video. Just trace out exactly what I have on the side front on the back piece. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to be connecting the lines to give me something like a rectangle, so to speak. So after tracing it out, this is what you're going to have it looking like. And then I'm just going to cut the pattern with my scissors. And also I've labeled it so that I don't get confused while cutting it on my fabric. So that is basically all for the drafting of this beautiful shirt. It's so simple. Just follow the steps in this video and you're going to get it. So the next thing now is to transfer to my fabric, and here I've already transferred the pattern to my fabric, and I added 1 inch of allowance in that area. I added ½ inch round this side and also 1 inch at the full length. For the side parts, I also added 1 inch to the armhole part, ½ inch to the dart area, and 1 inch to the hemline. And for the back piece, I only added 1 inch to the bottom and the top part. Okay, and I also went ahead to cut a long strip of fabric that I'm going to be using to tie it at the back. Okay, just make sure the width of this fabric is as wide as from the top of the back part to somewhere around the waistline, or probably 1 inch below the waistline. Okay, and for the length, it can be as long as you want. I think I did something about 20 inches for mine. So now the next thing we are going to do is to start joining the pieces together. So I'm going to be placing the side front on the center front like this, and then I'm going to sew along that okay, I'm going to be joining the 2 pieces together along that area. And then for the button allowance, I'm going to be folding it in. I'm going to fold in 1 inch and also fold in another 1 inch. I'll do the same to the other piece. So here is what it looks like after joining these pieces together. As you can see, I've joined the dart line together, and I've also used my hemming gum to iron down the button allowance, because the thread I have is not a matching thread. So I changed my mind to use hemming gum to hold it down. So I'm going to be placing the back piece like so. I'm going to be arranging it just exactly the way it's supposed to be. As you can see, is matching perfectly fine, and I'm going to be sewing on ½ inch. I'm going to be using ½ inch to join the back piece and the front piece together. Okay, and also for the other rope that I'm going to be using to tie it, I'm going to be attaching that rope to the back piece. Okay, to the center back, to the center back. I hope you understand this. If you don't understand, you can just watch what I'm doing in the video. So I'm going to do that and get back to us. So after joining everything together, here is what it looks like. I've gone ahead to tape all the rough edges. Okay, the armhole line, I went ahead to fold it in, and I also the bottom part as well. Everywhere that actually needs folding, you can just go in and fold by ½ inch and further fold by ½ inch again, just to make sure that it is neat. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to cut my collar. Okay, so we're almost done with the sewing of this beautiful shirt. I'm going to head over now and draft our collar. So because this is a backless shirt, and to draft the collar, we're going to be taking the neck measurement. Okay, we're going to be taking our round neck measurement. Make sure to take it loosely, do not make it tight. For me, I measured 17 inches. Go ahead and wrap your tape round your neck to get your own neck circumference. Do not make it tight, make it loose so that it will be comfortable for you. So if you've watched the video to this point, please do it to give it a like. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. And also let me know in the comment section if you're going to be trying this out. Okay, so now we're going to start drafting our collar, And to draft that, I'm going to be starting from this straight line that I've already drawn, and I'm taking all my measurement from this other straight line, this vertical straight line. So I'm going to place my tape there, and then I'm going to mark half of my neck circumference. Okay, so after marking that, then I'm going to be coming up by 1.5 inches, which is going to be my collar stand. Okay, that's the height of my collar stand, and then I'm going to draw that into a straight line, just like you can see on the screen. Another new line I draw, still placing my tape at that edge. I'm going to be marking the same measurement I mark at the lower part, which is half of my neck circumference. And after marking that, on that point, I'm going to be going in by 1.25. All right, I'm going to be going in by 1.25, and then I'm going to be using my curved ruler to make a curve that our collar usually have. Okay, just watch what I'm doing. Excuse me. I'm going to make a curve just like that, and then I'm going to label it the collar stand. I'm sorry you guys can't see this, but that's the collar stand. Okay, and from that point, I'm going to be coming up by 2.5 inches, which is going to be the height of my collar. All right, my actual collar is going to be 2.5 inches long. So I'm going to connect that into a straight line, and I'm also going to mark the same measurements of half of my neck circumference on that new line, and from that line I'm going to be connecting back to that 1.25 inches I came in by on the collar stand. Okay, just like you can see. So basically we have our collar, and then I'm going to label that the collar. So if you are making this a two-piece collar, what you want to do is on that folded edge, you're going to be coming up by half of an inch, and then you're going to curve it back to the 1.2 inches mark, just like that. That is if you are making a two-piece collar, but in this case I'm making a one-piece collar, so there is no need for me to curve that area. I'm just going to cut out my pattern just so you see what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Okay, so this is what my collar looks like after cutting it out. As you can see, we have our one-piece collar already. So like I said, if you want to make this a two-piece collar, you can just go ahead and cut from that curve that we make earlier. And since I'm making a one-piece collar, see, once I fold it, I'm going to get my full collar, so there is no need for me to slash it into two. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out this collar on my fabric. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold my, okay, before then I'm going to iron interfacing to my fabric before I cut out my collar on it. Okay, and when I'm cutting the collar, I'm going to be adding half inch of allowance at the lower parts and also at the side. So here is what it looks like after cutting it out on my pattern. As you can see, I have the upper part to be on fold, and I added half inch of allowance to the down part and also to the side part. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to stitch round the side like so, and after stitching, this is what it looks like. I'm just going to make a notch at the corner right there, and then I'm going to trim off the allowance just so everything lays flat. Okay, so after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to turn it inside out, and then I'm going to give it a really good press. Going to do is to fold in the ends like this. I'm going to be folding in by half of an inch, and then I'm going to iron it. Okay. So after ironing, this is what it looks like. Okay, our collar is ready. The next thing to do now is to fix the collar to the shirt. Right, so I'm just going to bring in the shirt now, and then I'm going to fix the collar to it. And to do that, I'm going to pick the neck of the collar. Just look at what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is to take one edge of the collar like so, and then I'm going to take the neckline of the first part of the shirt, and I'm going to tuck it in like this. Then I'm going to use my pin to secure it together, just like you can see on the screen. Just follow what I'm doing on the screen. Take one end of the collar and insert your the neck of the shirt into it like this. Secure it with a pin, and I'm just going to turn it around and do the same thing to the other side. So the back is going to just be bare like that because we don't have fabrics at the back. And what I'm going to do after pinning all together is to go ahead and make a top stitch all around it, and then I'll come back and show us what it looks like. So this is what we have after fixing the collar. Our shirt is basically ready. So the only thing left is just to fix the button. As at the time I was making this video, I have not fixed my button, but I'm going to fix it later. So here we've come to the end of the tutorial, and thank you again for watching. If you are here to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please click on the subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, do not forget to like this video if you gain value from it. Share this video with your fellow soulmates and let me know in the comment section if this is what you are going to try out next. And do not forget to tag me whenever you recreate your own shirts. See you in my next video. Bye.